All right, welcome everybody. So this is just a continuation of class from earlier. A few things that we wanted to cover again. I knew there were some questions about them, so let's go ahead and get started. When we were drawing our circular parts earlier today, I was telling you that there are two different ways to draw them. You can do a revolved boss base, or you can just do a series of circles, building the part up until you have a finished part. This instance right here, we're going to do a revolve. So what I'm going to wind up doing here is I'm going to draw a part using that concept, and I'm just going to be kind of generic with my numbers here. They don't have to be exact. It's kind of like, whose line is it anyway? The numbers don't matter. And we'll do 35. We'll make that 15. And we'll do another one here. And then we'll do another at about 70. Come up 15. And we'll finish that up. All right, so let's go ahead and get to dimensioning everything. We're going to make that 20. Make that 55. We'll make this 20. Make that 90. We'll make that 12. All right, we have a fully defined part. I'm going to exit out of the dimension tool. We're going to go to features and revolve boss base. I'm going to select this as my center of axis of revolution. Remember that it has to be a solid line. It cannot be a construction line to do that. And now we have our part. All right. So with that done, let's go ahead and I'm going to make the front plane normal to. And let me go back into this drawing because I need to see what. So it's a diameter of 60, radius of 20. All right. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make a reference plane off of the front. And I'm going to offset it 20. So it should put it right in line with these two cylinders right here. Okay, we don't need to do anything else. It's fully defined. We'll hit OK. Click on this plane. I'm going to make it normal too. And then I'm going to open a sketch in here. What I want to do is we're going to use Hole Wizard, which was the other thing that we did today. I'm going to put a hole here, a counterbore here, and a counterbore here. So I want to demonstrate that. Do that. And I'm going to put a center line or a construction line there. And I'm just going to draw it straight up to here and lock that in place. You'll see that's fully defined. It locked it in place. So we're good to go. And then we can go into our Hole Wizard. And Hole Wizard, do our drop down. Remember, we have Hole Wizard, Advanced Hole, Thread, and Stud Wizard. We're going to go with a Hole Wizard. And then this is our counterbore. We also have a countersink. We have a straight hole. We have a threaded hole, or a straight tap. We have a tapered hole. We have a legacy hole, and then we don't have anything down here on these. I'm going to put these in at metric. I'm going to select my counterbore here, And I don't want to do a hex bolt. I want to do a socket head cap screw. So I'm going to pick that. And then I'm going to show custom sizing for this. And this is what we were covering in class earlier today. So the first option we have here is the size of the hole going down. So we're going to pick that to be just an odd number, 5.9. And we hit enter and it turns yellow, lets us know that we put something in there. And we're going to leave this, what was the other one we were using? 9.54, I think it was. Sounds about right. I'm going to hit that. And then the depth of the hole that we need, I believe that was 3.91 right there. I am going to go to a blind depth. So I'm going to change this to 8 millimeters blind. And I'm going to select this hole. That's drilled to depth up to the tip of a drill bit, is essentially what that is saying right there. And we don't want a near side countersink because we're not going all the way through the part, so there's no need for one in there. Now, once we have all of the specifics for our counterbore that we're going to do, we need to go into positions. And then here, it's going to allow us to pick where we want to go. Now, the importance of this construction line that we put in is that it allows us to lock it in to the center of the face that we're going with here. So I'm just going to put one right there, and I'm going to put one right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dimension these. And we'll go with 15, because that sounds like a good number. And here we'll go with 15 as well. We don't have to do anything spectacular there. All right, and then once I hit my green check mark, I have my legacy hole, or not my legacy hole, but I have my hole counterbore that I want to put in there. Now, in your part, it wants 4 instances of this part, or of that hole. So instead of doing it 4 times, what we will do is we'll do a circular pattern here. Our rotation is going to be, we're just going to pick an edge. It doesn't really matter where. We'll pick that one right there because that looks good. We want to make sure equal spacing is on. We'll select 4 holes. Everything else looks good. And we hit our green check mark. So we now have our counterbore in there. And if I change the appearance of this, you can see the 2 that are actually offset from there. And then if I rotate this around, you can see the other hole in there. All right. Go back to our normal view. All right, so a few things that we also covered. Was seeing a bunch of different ways that you guys were going about drawing these parts and doing some of the features. And if you remember now, if we had to have slots in one of those diameters that we drew, well, I drew this in the front plane, right? Now, if I go to the top plane and I open a sketch, it's going to turn it up. But if I start drawing on here, so as an instance here, I am just going to pick right here, draw that in there. We will make this side and this side are going to be equal. And then I can dimension this to, I believe it was 12 millimeters is what the width was on there. And then we need to center this up on here. So I'm going to pick the center part of this line, and I'm going to come down here. I'm going to hold control, and I'm going to hit the origin right there, and I'm going to make those vertical so they're straight up from each other. And then the only thing that we have to do is dimension from here, and let's make that 80. So now we have a fully defined sketch. And what I like to do, some of you like to use the circular sketch pattern and do that all the way around, that's fine. We can do that. Center of rotation is going to be our circle. Actually, let's not do the circle. We'll do the point, and we want to do 4. So we're going to select the holes there. Puts them all the way around. And then what we have to do, this is one of the reasons why I don't like to do this, but not that it really matters. But so what we need to do here is do a dimension from here and a dimension from here. And then what that should do is turn all of them completely black, which means that we're fully defined at that point. And then we can go into an extruded cut. But you see my sketch, because I drew it in the top plane, doesn't allow for me, it drew everything down there at the bottom. So if I want to cut through here, where it says from, instead of sketch plane, I have to pick a surface. So I'll pick this surface, and then instead of blind, I will say up to a surface, and I'm going to rotate this around, and I'm going to pick this surface and hit my green check mark, and then it puts my cut all the way through. Okay, so the last thing that I can show you, or will show you, is a revolve cut, because those can come in handy sometimes. I'm going to go back into my front plane. I'm going to open a sketch, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to draw from the front plane. I'm going to draw a box. So I'm just going to draw a box like so. I'm going to draw that in there. I'm going to go ahead and dimension everything. Make that 3 millimeters. And we'll say 10 millimeters. And then I need to make this line up here with the center point on here, if I can find it. I may not be able to. So let me do this. I don't remember. I think this was 15. Yep, 15. So we'll just dimension it. Here, we'll make it 7.5. So that'll lock that in that way. And then we can dimension from here. We'll just make it 3, as the number doesn't matter. All right, so now we want to do a revolve cut. So we'll go back into our features here. We can do a revolve cut. What is the axis of the revolution going to be? So we can pick. All right, you don't want to do that for me. So let's do a, all right, it's not going to allow me to do that like that the way I normally would like to. So let's do this while we're in the sketch, right? Go back in here. I'm going to go ahead and write this, and then what I'm going to do, since I'm still in my sketch, I'm going to put a center line right here. Just lock that into place like so. We'll go back over here, and we'll do a revolve cut. The axis of revolution is going to be that right there. It's already selected my sketch from before, or because the sketch is already open. And then I can hit my green check mark, and I have cut a nifty little groove all the way through my part. All right, so I think that is it for what we covered in class. This is for the revolve. Let me show you one more way to do a circle, or to draw a part like that. It's another way. So I'm going to exit out of here. I'm not going to save that. I'm going to open up another part file. And this time I'm going to draw from the top plane. So here, all I'm going to do is just do a series of circles. And I'm not going to dimension anything. You guys know that all of our sketches should be fully defined. I'm not going to do that now because for time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this 50 millimeters. Get my green check mark. And then what I will do is I'm going to open another sketch right here on the top. Turn that up. And we'll do this right here. Let's put that in there like so. And then we'll do another extruded boss like so. And this one we're going to put in at 10. And then I'm going to rinse and repeat. I'm just going to tap the top there to select the top so that we can draw our circles and extrude them. Here we'll just do another odd one here. Go back to our features, do an extruded boss base, and this one, let's say we'll do 50. All right, one more so you kind of get the idea of what we're doing here. Don't want smart dimension, we're going to go ahead and extrude, we'll leave it at 50. All right, so that is the second way that you can do that top part that we were drawing earlier, or that you guys were working on in class, or, you know, like I say in class, there's 100 different ways to draw. I'm not going to recommend one way or another. You got to find the way that you like to draw and kind of go from there. So if you don't have any questions, which I doubt you will because this is a recording, you can hit me up in class though and ask your questions there. I hope this is helpful. If you need something more, let me know in class and I'll write it down and we will do another video for you. Okay? All right. You all have a good day and I'll see you tomorrow.